Before we get into today's video, shout out to you guys. Your comments really did make my day. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Your support does mean a lot to me. If you want a shout out in the next video, please be sure to drop a comment and I'll try to post as many comments as possible in my next video. If your comment was not selected in today's video, it's just that I couldn't find it because there's a lot of comments and it's just tough to go through all these comments and find the ones I want to shout out. Anyways, with all that said, let's get right to today's video. Alright, let's start with the basic things this keyboard has to offer. Firstly, there are two variants, the 3 LED variant and the 7 LED variant. The 3 LED variant costs you 950 Indian rupees and the 7 LED variant costs you 1300 Indian rupees. The 3 LED variant has red, blue and purple. You'd expect red, blue and green, but you get purple, while the 7 LED variant has a bunch of other colors as well. So this is what you'd call a semi-mechanical keyboard. What does that mean? It looks like a mechanical keyboard, sounds like a mechanical keyboard and even feels like a mechanical keyboard, but isn't a mechanical keyboard. Why is that? A proper definition for a mechanical keyboard is they're made of high quality plastic key switches right underneath the keycaps. I guess the nice way to say it is this is a light version of a generic mechanical keyboard. Let's talk about the keyboard build for a moment. It has an aluminum body. They definitely didn't cheap out here, even though this is a budget keyboard. One thing you'll notice right off the bat is how heavy this keyboard is. A normal keyboard is going to weigh around 400 to 500 grams. This one weighs around 1.13 kilograms. That's very heavy for a keyboard in my opinion. That's something you notice right away. But does it get in the way of the whole experience? It does not. When you turn on max brightness, it looks really beautiful. It looks like the keys are floating. But there's a slight problem there. The key height cannot be adjusted. Unlike if you buy a mechanical keyboard, you do have that option to adjust the key height according to your preference. You cannot do that here. So it does take a little bit of time to get used to. One way I got around this was to use the razors provided with the keyboard. It makes the whole keyboard more ergonomic, and within 2 or 3 hours I got used to the whole typing and stuff. One more thing is, without using the razors, when I first used it, I noticed that my typing speed and my reflexes while gaming were very slow. It took a little bit of time to get used to. So what I'd recommend you do is probably use this keyboard for around 1 or 2 days. If you don't feel like this keyboard is for you, I'd recommend you to use the Amazon return policy and get a refund, buy another mechanical keyboard or a semi-mechanical keyboard. But other than that, I think the whole typing experience, basically the experience with this keyboard is very satisfying, especially the way it sounds. Here's a quick sound test. When you have the razors on, the keyboard does not move. It's very sturdy and stays in the same place. If you don't use the razors, it's still alright because it does have 2 rubber straps underneath the keyboard which holds it in place. The USB isn't gold plated. There is no noticeable latency issues, so I guess it's alright. The normal reason why they go in the gold plated route is to avoid latency issues. I didn't face any such issues, so I guess it's alright. But you do get the anti-tangle cable with it, so I guess that's there. One thing I really did not like with this keyboard is the font choice. They've chose this worn-out font. When you turn on all the RGB lights, it highlights the font obviously, right? It already looks worn out. You kind of like double check whether you've used it that much, but then you realize that this keyboard you probably used it only for like 1 or 2 days and they just have this worn out font. I mean, it's not there with all the characters. A few characters does have it. I'll try to show it in the B-roll, but not really a fan of that. And on top of that, in some of the areas right underneath the keys, there's this black spring or some black material of some sort. When you turn on the RGB light, it looks like there's dirt underneath the key. So with the worn out font and the black stuff underneath few of the keys, it doesn't feel the best, you know what I mean? It's like even though you maintain the keyboard, keep it very clean, that's always going to be there and doesn't really give you that full satisfaction. Maybe I'm complaining too much, especially at this price point. But yeah, something you should know. Let's talk about a few features this keyboard offers. Firstly, you have the static colors where you can choose any one color. If you buy the 3 LED variant, you have 3 options. If you buy the 7 LED variant, you have 7 options. You also have this breathing mode where there's a display of all the colors. It fades in and fades out. It looks something like this. Alright, let me get back to complaining a little bit. The number lock, caps lock and the Windows lock have their own separate LEDs and they're blue. It doesn't matter whether you change the colors of the keyboard, those three remain the same. I guess the only workaround for that is to change the entire keyboard LED setting to blue. But if you have a black and red setup like I do, your OCD is going to trigger and you're not gonna like it. That is one of the flaws of this keyboard. The keys aren't individually lit in this keyboard. The LEDs are placed in certain areas so that the light spreads evenly. The places where the LED is placed, you can notice the strength of the brightness in that particular area. It kind of looks like a light leak. This is not noticeable if you're using the RGB setting when the lights are on in your room. If you like to game or use your PC in a dark environment, you'll notice the strength of the LED in that particular area where it's placed, and it does look like a light leak. One really cool feature you get is the brightness control. You don't see this feature at all in this price range with RGB keyboards, but these guys provide it. It's a very nice feature to have, especially if you like to play in dark environments. If you turn on your max brightness, it does get in the way while gaming or just using your PC. I like to keep it in like the medium setting if I'm in the dark environment. So yeah, that comes very handy. It's a very nice feature to have, and that really is a plus point, especially in this price range. The sides of the keyboard look very beautiful, especially in a dark setting. It does give an LED panel look because transparent materials are used in the side. So the sides of the keyboard are lit, the front is obviously lit, and even the top of the keyboard is lit where the keys are. The whole ambience it gives is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie.
So on a whole, I would give this keyboard an 8 on 10. I know I did mention a fair few things I didn't like, but I have to keep in mind that this is a budget keyboard, and for the price you pay, it really does deliver. So in the end of the day, will I recommend this keyboard to you guys? Yes, I definitely will. Because according to me, in this price segment, no other keyboard is as good as this one, especially a keyboard which has an aluminum build. It is quite sturdy and nice. So that's it for today's video. If you liked it, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.